What we just looked at was the Ed Sullivan Show, January 1969. Now I can remember exactly where I was. I was 20 years old, almost 20 years old. And I was watching the Ed Sullivan Show, and I was watching the guy sitting next to me. That was them on the Ed Sullivan Show. These guys are the Shondells. They recorded all that music. I want to talk a little bit about their music. Ron, this is you on the keyboards, right?
Yes. Yes,
That's almost 50 years ago.
That's all. Yes, it is almost 50 years ago.
And Mike, oh, hey, come on. In 5 decades, we saw a lot of history, a lot of music. We earned the gray hair, okay? I earned the bald head, okay? It didn't happen overnight. I got this by spending all these rides around the sun. Now, Mike, this is you on the Ed Sullivan Show.
I knew you'd be able to tell, but I haven't changed much.
No.
So
That's him. That's you and the best, okay.
that was the easy one. Yeah.
Ed, were you there?
Yes, sir.
And what were you doing? What were you playing?
I was playing a Gretsch Nashville, an orange colored guitar. Okay.
Gretsch. Let's see, Bobby. George Harrison played a Gretsch, and
It's the same one. It's the same one Harrison used. Mine was a year newer, so it had a metal badge on the top that had Chet Atkins' name on it. But it was a 60. The guitar number was 6120. But that was his favorite guitar in the studio. But that's what I used that night.
Is that why you did it?
Not really. I never thought about it. I bought the guitar from a guy that taught me to play years before that, and he was from Nashville, and he put a good price on it, and I jumped on it. But it was a nice looking guitar.
Well, how about Eddie Cochran? He played a Gretsch.
Yeah, Gretsch is a great guitar, but the problem is if you take it out on the road and bang it around.
Yeah, it out of tune real quick.
Yeah, and it's not as sturdy as a Les Paul or a Fender that has a solid body. This was like a hollow body, a semi-hollow body.
Well, this was 1969, so you guys were well versed in being the Shondells because you had been the Shondells now for a few years. But a question I've wanted to ask you guys for years, and I've seen you on stage at times from a distance, never had the opportunity to catch up with you, and I did now.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get to be the Shondells?
We were in a group called the Raconteurs. It was the St. Vincent College bass group, which is right here in Pennsylvania for people that don't know that. And we were a very good group, playing a lot of the bars and colleges, circuits around the Pittsburgh area.
What year? What year are we talking?
That would have been 64, 65.
Okay. The Beatles are big.
Yes. Yeah.
You playing Beatles music?
No,
Not
no.
much.
We played the
Rhythm
R&B.
and blues.
We were all R&B. We were playing the Thunderbird Lounge in Greensburg, Pennsylvania.
Where is the Thunderbird Lounge, and where's the Greensburg, Pennsylvania?
Greensburg, Pennsylvania is about 20 miles off the Irwin interchange of the Pennsylvania Turnpike, not far from Pittsburgh.
On the east side of Pittsburgh.
On
Yes.
the east side of Pittsburgh.
Route 30.
Yeah, right. And we were doing the Thunderbird Lounge, and in walks this young man with his managers, who we were told it was later on. We didn't know who it was. But he comes in and he's watching the group. And he calls us over, the bartender, Joe, called us over, and he said, hey, that young fellow wants to talk to you. So we went down, and he said, my name is Tom Jackson. And,
That's his real name.
yeah, right. He said, I'm from Niles, Michigan. And I recorded a song a couple of years ago called My Baby Does the Hanky Panky. And it's starting to break in Pittsburgh, and they're telling me that it's going to really get big. I need a group.
Now, are all you guys listening to this while this is happening? Are we all gathered around?
Yeah, well, Eddie wasn't with us yet.
Okay.
He came in about a year
In fact,
ago.
I was going to school up here at Clarion, okay? I knew these guys because I played in clubs around the area where the Raconteurs did, okay?
You weren't in the Raconteurs at the time.
No. I knew these guys. I was in a different band, but I was going to school up here, okay, when Tom ran into these guys.
Up here, we're in Erie right now.
Okay, well, Clarion's due east of here, right? And
In the northern part of Pennsylvania is
Yeah.
what we're talking.
Yeah.
And these guys are a little bit further south, towards the
yeah,
central part of
maybe
Erie.
100 miles.
Okay. But you knew them from the circuit.
Oh, yeah.
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 Yep.
We'll get into how we called him also, but we were doing the Thunderbird Lounge. Tommy Jackson comes in with his manager, and he says, you got this hit song going on. And quite frankly, us being an R&B group, we didn't pay much attention to pop music. I had heard the song a couple times, but it was one of those things that went in this ear and out that ear because I didn't care about it. So we mentioned that, hey, this is a good opportunity for you. I'd like you to become the Shondell.
Did you hear the Tommy James version or the Raindrops version?
Tommy James.
Tommy James.
You didn't, the Raindrops version didn't really make much of a
No.
splash.
No, he didn't.
So you'd never heard that. But you did hear about Tommy James because of the Pittsburgh breaking and...
Right, right.
Okay.
But we had no idea how much promise that song held. Because, as I said, we were tied up with R&B. We loved R&B. We had our own thing going. We were very popular. And so we had to think about it. The next day, I'm on my way to my day job, driving down the highway. And I'm listening to Clark Race, Pittsburgh disc jockey on KDK radio. Clark Race comes on and he said, I'm going to play a song for you all now. It's going to become #1 in the country. You mark my words. He said, here it is. And he plays Hanky Panky. I make a U-turn in the middle of a 4-lane highway.
He's laughing.
Right. I made a U-turn in the middle of a 4-lane highway, went back home, and I called the guys. I said, hey, fellas, I says, you know that door we've been waiting for to open? It just swung wide open. We got to take this for a ride. So we all talked about it. We agreed. And off we went to New York and became the Shondell.
Okay. Off we went to New York. So the next day you left, or that night?
No.
When did you leave for New York?
Well, probably about 2 weeks later.
2 weeks.
Yeah, we were actually, 3 of us were juniors in college. And it was a week before finals of our second semester.
Oh, man.
And we made the decision we were going to go ahead and play this thing out, take 6 months off school, go play this silly record out,
Yeah.
and come back and finish without having to play 3 or 4 times a week, pay our way through school.
Right.
The
What did
rest-
Mom and
the
Dad
rest
say?
is- They hated it.
Oh, of course,
They
sure.
hated it. They hated it. Us dropping out of school. None of them, not one of our parents liked it.
No.
But we said we had to try this.
All right, so you had to learn the song, first of all.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are practicing, rehearsing?
Well, it didn't take long.
No,
You know
we
what?
had 3 chords.
It doesn't matter.
The words threw us, though. There's a lot of words in that song. We had worked on that.
My baby does
right.
the... Okay, now, after you mastered that, being juniors in college, did you go to New York? Tommy already went to New York. He's already in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made the first trip. Yeah.
Yeah. Did he come back for you, or did you go and join him a couple weeks later?
Quite frankly, I don't remember whether we went up together or not.
How'd you get there? Fly, drive?
I think we drove the first trip up.
Did we?
I believe we did, yeah, because we had to be in the studio.
And you had to bring equipment.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we had to be in the studio.
Where'd
They
you go?
immediately wanted us to do an album on the single, that Hanky Panky album.
We're going to do a whole album over this single.
And it was all our stuff that we were playing before Tommy.
Yeah.
Ed's not there yet.
Right.
Where is Ed at this time?
I'm in school.
Still in school. Hanky Panky's 1966. Do you play a full year without Ed?
Just about.
Yeah, about,
Well, you guys started
2
when?
albums.
Summer of '66.
yep.
I started in March of '67. Right after. I think the first thing I did with the record that was out at that time was I Think We're Alone Now.
I just registered for the draft. Big time in my life. I hear this music. I'm getting ready to go to college that fall. Biggest thing on my mind is that I stay in school, 4-year deferment. I don't want to go. I do get drafted, okay? Eventually, at the end of college. That's another story. But we're thinking about these things, and we're listening to your music. Say I Am. Now, I just communicated yesterday with George Tomsko, the guy who wrote it. Jimmy Gilmer and the Fireballs did that at the end of '64. What made you guys choose that to do? I love the song. I get a kick out of the song. I love Jimmy Gilmer. I love the Fireballs. I love their music. I love Buddy Holly. I love all that. How does that get to New York and on this?
Because the way Hanky Panky broke is the same way that Say I Am came to our attention. By that I mean that there was a guy in Pittsburgh by the name of Bob Mack who ended up being our first manager. He also had a bunch of teen clubs that he would take us around to, like as the group before the
Your own
Raconteurs.
Chitlin circuit.
Yeah, right. One of those things. And Hanky Panky broke because Bob Mack played it at his clubs. And became so popular in his clubs that the radio station heard about it and started playing it. We went back to Bob Mack, and Bob Mack says, hey, there's another song that the kids go nuts for every time I play it.
That's Jimmy Gilmer's
Yeah,
Say I Am.
Say I Am. He says, this is what I think we ought to record. So we end up...
Follow up.
So you're really doing surveys. Kids, rate this record. What do you like?
That was
We
about
dance
it.
to that.
That was about
We
it.
record that.
That's pretty much how it went.
But that's how it works. That's how you please the audience. That's all it takes. Now, we're putting together this act, and we're starting to get some success. Where's Ed?
I'm at school.
You're still in school. You're getting
Okay.
smarter and smarter by the week.
No, I think Hanky Panky broke the summer of '66, and I was in school in Clarion from September up until when they called me, the beginning of '67. Okay, right after the first of the year, and then I started with them. They had a couple guys, some guys in the band that went out to work the record, Hanky Panky, and they ended up leaving the group before I started with
The Raconteurs were together.
Tommy.
The Raconteurs, as Tommy found us, were together until Ed took the place of the guitar-playing Raconteurs who left. And then Peter Lucia, the new drummer, took the place of the Vince Pietrapoli who left.
He was with you guys
Yeah,
originally.
that's right.
Okay.
And the saxophone player left. They had
George McGuire.
George McGuire played sax. He left. So the three guys left, and myself and the drummer replaced the drummer and the guitar player.
And at this point, you guys are also going to start recording in the studio.
Right?
Because a lot of times, you know, they got, well, as you well know in the business, people playing on the road, people in the studio. You know, the Wrecking Crew and all that, you know, Motown. Okay, but you guys are doing both. You guys are all part of this music. You're part of the expansion of Tommy James and the Shondells.
Exactly.
Okay. And you're with them. The first song you record on, Ed, is what?
I think we're alone now.
I think we're alone now. 1967. Oh God, that was the biggest thing. Okay, for us guys, that was one of the
That's the
coolest
heartbeat.
things. Yeah, that was one of the coolest things. That I mean, come on, everybody stopped when they played that in the record. See, I went to Euclid High School, so the name of our social room was called the E Room, and we'd go in there for lunch, and they would play that song, and everybody would be out dancing, and it just got quiet. Everybody listened to that. We just heard that. I think we're alone now. What do you remember? What do you remember about that? Did you know the song before you went in?
We had producers at the time.
Jimmy was
Richie Cordell and Bo
A
Gentry.
guy named Richie Cordell and Bo Gentry. Okay, Richie went on later years.
They were writers too, weren't they?
They were writers and producers. In fact, Richie went on later in his life to produce Joan Jett and the Black Hearts, okay? And other people too. He was noted for his drum sound, but these guys are the ones that put that together. It was recorded on a 4-channel tape machine, okay? And it was the studio we recorded in was having a lot of success with hits on the radio, a place called Allegro.
In the basement.
Yeah, downstairs. So we went in there and we recorded the tunes, but these two guys, they were meticulous, and it was really rough to do things then because you only had 4 channels to work with, okay? So the performances had to be really tight, really good, and if you listen to it, there's not a lot going on in it, but everything is really snappy, everything's right where it should be, and it was pretty much because of those guys, you know? pretty demanding, you know. But they were having success in the city at the time, and they didn't want to be messing with somebody that they couldn't produce and couldn't make money with, you know. So
you did what you were told because you knew these guys
exactly it.
were successful.
Yeah, and it was kind of easy because they were good at what they did, very good.
They knew.
And the engineer was very good also, okay? Bruce Staple, yeah. So we started, basically I'd say from them, we learned a lot from those guys when we first started. Of course, later on we started doing all our own stuff, you know. Everything, not too long after that we started doing ourselves, but it's a tough sell. You're trying to tell the record company, oh, we can produce that, we can do it, you know, and then finally we got the nod and we did the songs ourselves.
Right. I think we're alone now. Okay, another big hit. And I have a feeling that these kids from this Pennsylvania hills, your head's starting to spin. Okay, I mean, success is coming so fast. We just started this stuff, and look at the big records we're having. I think we're alone now. All right, now we're traveling the country. Are we traveling the world yet, or just the country?
Just the country.
Just the country at this point. Okay, and I know we're going across the country, and this is '67, so we're not at Woodstock yet, but it's coming. Okay, the music is building up. 1967. I mean, I look back and I can remember exactly where I was, what I was doing, and we talk about the Summer of Love and all the great music that came out during that summer. And we're talking Monterey Pop Festival. It's really exploding. And I always say that our fathers who fought in World War II and who came home and got married and started these families, they elected their supreme Allied commander, the guy that took them across the English Channel and beat the Nazis. They elected him as their president. So as far as they were concerned, they were still in the military. Okay, we're still in step. And this rock and roll is getting us out of step. And you guys are contributing to that. So in the summer of '67, I'm getting ready to go to college. And I've got uncles and my father, everybody preaching to me, don't be listening to that. Don't be out there marching. You just study and don't get in trouble. Okay, but you guys are giving me a totally different beat to march to. Okay? And I'm loving it. And I'm watching all the protests. Every college had a protest. And rightfully so. But still, I don't know which way to go, because I got my father and my uncles in one ear, and I got this music, rock and roll, taking me in another direction. So I'm watching and I'm moving along. I think we're alone now. Now we get to the fall of 1967. I'm in college, and I'm on my own for the first time. And then I'm going to listen to Crimson and Clover. Okay. What else of significance is happening for you guys after before we get to Sweet Cherry Wine, which is one of my all-time top 25 favorite rock and roll songs of all time. Okay. Before we get to that in '69.
Well, right after I Think We're Alone Now, we followed up with Mirage.
That was backwards.
Yes, backwards, but it was the same two producers and
same song.
Yeah.
They played the tape backwards, and they liked what they heard frontwards and backwards.
Yep.
It's just a Mirage.
Yep.
Another big hit.
And then we switched gears a little bit, didn't we, Mike? It's Only Love.
Well, It's Only Love was third. It was before I Think We're Alone Now.
That's true. That's true. Yep.
I think maybe Getting Together came after that.
I believe you're right.
I think that was pretty good. It wasn't one of our biggest,
No.
but it carried us over the hump just to get to where we wanted to go. It was about that time when we felt like we were still there, but we felt like we were starting to tread water a little bit. And it was about that time that Tommy approached, I should say, and we were behind him, approached the record company about, hey, we can do this.
Now, who's the record company? Are we talking Morris himself?
Yes.
Yes.
We go to Morris Levy and say, hey, we want to do this. Are you guys going with Tommy saying this? You backing him up?
Yeah,
Or?
yeah.
Okay.
And so...
You remember that day? You guys going to the Morris's office and him,
Hey, I'll tell you something's really funny about that. For me, anyway. I didn't know Morris from Adam.
at the time.
Right, but I'll tell you something. I think Morris really liked the group because we weren't from the city. I mean, we were pretty down-to-earth people, and I think he liked that. You know what I mean? because he was a street kid,
Yeah.
you know, and we looked more like what he was when he was a kid than some of the guys coming into his office trying to sell him something, you know.
And you saw this parade of characters coming through there, right? And everybody coming through. And this is not the kind of people you grew up with. But we got to stick close to this because this is success. And this is, we love the music, we love playing, so we can't wander too far away from this success. So we're watching these people, but then again, we are the guys from Pennsylvania, and we're not going to change our character. We want to go see Morris and tell him, hey, we're not stupid, we're going to create some music too. What did he say to you?
Well, he gave us the chance to do it because, let's face it, he had the same interest we did. We wanted to hit records, we wanted to be stars. He wanted to hit records, he wanted to be rich. Okay. So he said, go ahead and do it, try it. And so sure enough, it led to the Crimson and Clover album, which had 4 hit songs on one album. The greatest hit streak we ever had in our life came from one album, and we did it.
And when did you record that? When did you start recording that?
Time-wise, I would think 68.
Yeah, 68. It was 68.
And you finished up, what, towards the end of 68? Because what?
Yes.
At,
It come out around Christmas time.
Christmas time of 68, Crimson and Clover. Did you write that song?
Well,
How did it come about?
It's a good
Tommy and
story.
I used to write quite a bit after concerts. We'd go back to our room, get lit up a little bit, and come up with all this crazy stuff. And we found out that if we said things in a way that people didn't quite understand what you were talking about, they would think, boy, they're smart. They know something that we don't know.
Well, you thought they were the Beatles when they
Yeah,
would come
right.
up with this silly
Yeah.
lyrics.
And that led to Crimson and Clover, it led to Crystal Blue Persuasion, things that people, what are they saying? What's that about? And so we went in that direction, and Crimson and Clover was the first effort in that direction. So Tommy and I started writing Crimson and Clover. People don't know this. There were 2 Crimson and Clover. One that Tommy and I wrote, and the hit record. One that Tommy and I wrote got junked because we never got to the point where we thought that the song itself lived up to the title. And so we said, scrap it, we're going to start all over.
You started from the bottom up again.
Had
Lyrics and music?
Everything. Kept the title and threw everything else away. And then Pete Lucia got involved.
Was there ever a recording of the first Crimson and Clover?
No, but I have a vague remembrance of how it went.
Oh, you? Okay.
But I didn't like it either. But anyhow, Pete Lucia got involved, and Peter Lucia then took it in a different direction with Tommy.
Now, Pete's the drummer.
He's the drummer, yeah. And it ended up being a great hit for us. And it was, I think it was the first hit we had off of that album, but there was also
Sweet Cherry,
Do Something to Me,
do something to me.
Crystal Blue Persuasion, and Sugar on Sunday, which was not a hit for us, but Tommy and I wrote it, and the Click did it from Texas, and took it to the top 10 or so in the country. But there was 4.
Boy, you're bringing back memories, buddy. Everything that's coming out of your mouth, it's a whole new memory. It's going a different direction. Crimson and Clover, I remember that. Then came, in March of 1969, one of my favorite songs, Sweet Cherry Wine.
On mine over.
Wow. Now, Richie and I sat down and talked about that at length, and I emailed Richie this morning and said I'm on my way to meet the guys and sit with them and talk about that. And I can't wait to get back home and show him this. I just think it's a beautiful, the whole concept of the song, what it means, and when I first met Richie, somebody said to me, that man over there at this after-concert party wrote Sweet Cherry Wine. I went up to him, shook his hand, and introduced myself. I said, you wrote Sweet Cherry Wine? He turned around and he said, and it's not a drinking song. Put his finger in my face. I said, hey, okay, I don't drink. I didn't think it was, all right? You know, and then we started talking. And then we developed, sitting down and talking in front of the camera. It's like, you listen to the words and all of that, what it means. When you were first introduced to this song we are going to record, and then when you went into the studio that night to record it, what were you thinking? Were you excited about it when you heard about it? Because you didn't hear it yet, because you had to create it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us when we heard that song and Richie's version of what he wanted to do with it was that it's a total change in our music venue. We were making crossing over. We were no longer going to be that bubblegum type group, we're making a crossover now to playing something a little more serious-minded, with a good meaning to it. And that's what I thought about it, at least when I heard the song and when we performed it. You know, it had a beautiful meaning for me.
To me, it said to me that the people who are singing the song said that we've got something to say and you're going to listen. And this is our message to you. And I know the Temptations were doing this with all the confusion. People moving out, people moving in. This place is crazy. We're telling you.
Right.
And now, and of course, people got to be free with the Rascals. And then Tommy James and Shondells says this to me, okay? And you have to understand the impact it's having on me, because every semester when my grades came back in college, you know, hey, I'm doing okay, I'm still in college, I'm not going to get drafted, okay. You know, my friends are marching off to war. Well, I don't want to be one of those guys marching off to war. My father thinks, you know, when your country calls you, you go. And that's okay, World War II, everything was right, but this is the Vietnam War.
Right.
And we know a lot more about this, and my dad didn't want to do that, so I don't want to go, Dad. All right. So I hear this song, and it has a message to me, and I'm listening to it, and I'm believing what you're saying, and I want to get marching with you guys rather, but my father says, don't get out marching with him. All right, so we hear this song, and I'll tell you, that song was introduced in the spring, but that song was around for the entire summer. I remember listening to that song, and I could say exactly where I was. I remember what street I'm walking down. I hear the guy driving past me, and hearing that song coming from his radio. I'm on my way to a buddy's house. And okay, it was with us. We went to the beach, took our radios, and heard that at the beach. It was part of who we are and what we were doing.
Sure.
So that's why I say I've known you guys for decades. You've been with me for a long time.
You know what impressed me about Sweet Cherry Mom is that no matter how good the lyrics are to a song, if it's not married to a good melody and a good production, it's not going to work.
Oh, that's right.
No matter how good the music is, if it doesn't have good lyrics, it's not going to work. That song may have been the most perfect combination of production, lyrics, and performance that I've ever been part of. That includes Crystal Blue Persuasion, which is also one of my favorite songs that we did. But that song was just about a perfect presentation. And so that's why it sticks in a man's memory like your own.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I absolutely love it. And you don't know how many times I use it. I've got certain songs on an inspirational CD that I listen to. I still listen to CDs, I'm sorry, guys. But I still listen to the music, and that's one of the few that I listen to for that kind of thing. Crystal Blue Persuasion. We're talking towards the end of the year now. The guitar that begins that song, who's playing that guitar? That's what I want. That's what I want. I love that. I love that. That's you.
Yeah, this tune is weird because it went through a metamorphosis too. I started doing the music with Tom on that song, and what was strange is Tom would, instead of tuning his guitar like a regular six-string guitar, he would tune it up to an E chord, okay? So I stayed up with him one night to write. He wanted to do something, and I had to use his guitar to play on. So the initial chords...
Was that the only one that was available, or that's what he wanted?
Yeah, well, he wanted to play it too, so I got stuck with a guitar that wasn't tuned right, okay? So the chords in the beginning of that, the ba, 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 it's very hard to play that chord on a regular guitar. It takes two guitars playing two different chords at the same time to do that. Because his guitar was tuned the way it was, I could play a certain position on the neck and it would come out. But did the music with Tom, and then we started, originally he wanted to call it Come On and Dance, okay? But like Mike was talking about the original Crimson and Clover, the tune moved on from the music that I did with Tom, and Mike and Tom finished the lyrics to it, okay? And then it was recorded as one of the last tunes on the Crimson and Clover album, okay? So we originally recorded it with not a lot of instruments on it. And when Red Schwartz listened to the album, we had Crimson and Clover. We needed a follow-up. And we said, we don't know what we're going to do for follow-up. He said, the other hits on the album. He said, this Crystal Blue Persuasion thing is a hit. he said, we'll put horns on the end of it and a couple more instruments in the middle to make it bigger and stronger. And that's what we did, you know. We released it and boom, he was out selling shoes, you know. But, you know, the writing at the time, it was like, and the writers in New York were the same way, continuously trying to put something together that you thought people would like, and it would get spun around, like Mike said, with Crimson and Clover, until you get it in a format and an arrangement that you think people would really like if you did it.
I always say these songs don't drop out of the sky. There's so much development that goes into it.
Yeah.
It makes it the product that we love.
Yeah, like the Crystal Blue thing, we did the basic track and I overdubbed the guitar part in the beginning and the end, the lead part, and that was it. We thought we were done with it until after Red said that that's a hit and put horns on it, you know, so that's the way it went.
Then it was a hit.
Yeah, he knew. You know, Red was a smart guy.
1969, with all these great hits coming out of your fingers. As a matter of fact, this week, right now, 48 years ago, they're having Woodstock. I didn't get to go to Woodstock. Did you guys get to go?
No.
Why not? You guys are big musicians back then.
Whose version would you like to hear?
I want to hear the truth, okay? You're in Hawaii.
Okay.
Now, I was stationed in the Army. I was stationed in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
I was stationed at Schofield Barracks. I don't know if you guys ever toured the island when you were there. Up in the mountains with Schofield Barracks, 25th Infantry Division, same unit that Oliver Stone was in, Tropic Lightning. So, you guys were down near Diamond Head in the Kahala section, which was the mansions and the big Kahala Hilton Hotel, or Merv Griffin owned that. It was a big place. You guys were having a good time. Call came in. Pig farm. What do you remember?
I just remember what I've been told. I don't remember that happening.
We don't remember that call either, to be honest with you, Tom, but what we did know is that same weekend we had been booked at the Atlanta Pop Festival.
The visit to Hawaii occurred 1.5 months before Woodstock.
Right. Yep.
So you're there, end of June, beginning
June,
of July,
mhm.
over the 4th of July
Yep.
weekend, I guess. You're there.
We were there for
okay.
a month.
So you were there for how long?
A month.
We were in Hawaii?
Yeah.
No, just a week.
I know, we were there for a month.
no,
The whole month of
just a
June?
week.
No? Well, my mind doesn't work as well as it used to.
Where did you play where did you perform when you were in Hawai?
There's a shell, an outdoor shell.
The Waikiki Band Shell.
Is that what it was?
And we did a show on the island of Hilo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we worked several jobs. We worked on Hilo and then we worked the Waikiki Band Shell.
Did
Was
you
the
perform
last
for
one.
any Army installations?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Well, they brought a lot of groups up to
Yeah.
Schofield Barracks
Yeah.
and the Conroy Bowl. Elvis performed up there. Everybody performed. You guys didn't, huh?
Yeah.
But you were at the Waikiki Band Show right down
Yeah.
there on the beach? Yeah, right down there by the park. Yeah, I remember it well. Okay.
We were there, the Young Rascals were there too. We didn't do the show with them, but they were working places also. So Tom Moffat, the promoter on the island, got us a beautiful place. It was a Japanese mansion right on Diamond Head, and the Rascals were 2 or 3 houses up from us. Okay, so a bunch of kids trying to live like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
doing the big time thing, you know, riding around the island on motorcycles and swimming in the ocean, and you know.
Our agenda, talking about that period of time, our agenda was we go to Hawaii for a week or two.
Excuse me. Is anybody married in the group at this time?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
I was for sure.
You were married.
Yeah.
You had family back home. You were married
No,
too.
but she was with me.
Pardon?
My wife was with me.
Oh, she was.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't say that.
You didn't ask me.
I didn't ask you. Okay, so you're taking family. You're taking your wife with you.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
All right.
It was a nice trip. We had a great
Yes.
time in Hawaii.
And you too, Ron? You were married, wife with you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you go. All right. So there's no reason. What are you doing in Hawaii? Get back home. None of that.
Nope.
Hey, we're having a good time. Good for
I
you.
have one story I got to tell you though.
Yes.
When we were at Hilo, I had an impacted wisdom tooth.
Oh God.
And I called a dentist out of a phone book on a Sunday. This is how the Hawaiian people are. He came, he says, meet me in my office. He came to his office, took care of my impacted wisdom tooth and wouldn't take a penny. That's classical. I'll never forget that.
Well, when I was in the Army, they wanted to take out 4 wisdom teeth. He said, no problem with them now, but they'll never bother you again, and we'll take them out for free today. I said, okay, go ahead, do it. They took out my wisdom teeth. Okay, so we all lost our wisdom teeth in a while.
There you go.
Okay. I'm a Shondell. Okay. All right. So,
But the agenda called for us to be in Hawaii for that week or two in June or whenever it was. Then we were to go to the Atlanta Pop Festival. And then we were to go to Mexico City.
Right.
We checked into Mexico City. I've got my passport showing the dates. We went into Mexico on my passport. It's stamped the 9th of August. And we were there for about a week. So that would have been right up to Woodstock.
Right.
was there an invitation to Woodstock?
I can
Did it
only-
actually happen?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, okay.
We were never told that.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at. So there's no actual proof that we were invited as a group to headline the Woodstock Festival.
I can't even talk to that. All I can say is we were never told until more recently when books and stuff came out that
Yeah,
we were invited to
the
Woodstock.
Shondells didn't know about it. In 1968, though, you guys had some other great music that I can remember. One of my favorite songs. What was the name of that song? It was an insurance company song, right?
Mutual of New York, Mutual of New York, Mutual of New
What
York.
was that song?
That song, actually, the title came from that sign, Mutual of New York, on back of Tommy's little balcony he had in his apartment. And that flashed.
On
They
8th
were looking
Avenue,
for. They were looking for a
88,
title.
yeah.
They were looking for a title. Couldn't
Yeah,
come up with it.
It was sort of like a jam, the way it all came about, like a jam session that we just loved what we put down on.
In his apartment or in the studio?
No, in the
No, in the
studio.
studio.
And we were building this song, just like we were talking about all the other songs we started building this rock song, and we knew it was going to be about a girl, and we knew it was going to be about a sexy girl, and that thing. We're looking for this sexy name, and we could never come up with it. And one day Tommy and I think it was Richie Cordell, if I'm not mistaken, were sitting on this balcony, and they looked over the horizon of the city of New York, and up on top of this building were these letters going off and on, M-O-N-Y, M-O-N-Y. It was the Mutual of New York building. So it ended up being the name of the song, Money Money.
Now, you guys were there. You guys recorded that. It was a party, what they call a party type rock.
Right.
And when I think of party rock, the first guy I think of is,
Gary U.S. Wands.
no, before him. Don't you just know it? Huey Piano Smith in the
Right.
Clowns.
Yeah, there you
We
go.
went down to Baton Rouge to visit him, and his wife wouldn't let him go on camera. Because he talked to us about that, and I mean, there's a legend right there. Okay, starting all this stuff. But then we've got Gary U.S. We just saw Daddy G and Gary U.S. Bonds together for the first time in 40 years last October 7th in Richmond. Johnny Rivers, the Swinging Medallions, Party Rock. Well, Moni Moni was an anthem to party rock, and that was you guys.
Yep.
Now, you guys are still together, and I wore blue today because of Crystal Blue Band.
Thank you for that.
Well, I had to do it,
And you look good in it.
I do. But I did it because of you guys.
Appreciate
now,
that.
you guys go on stage all the time, and the name of your band is...
The Crystal Blue Band.
And you got that, of course, from Crystal Blue Persuasion, which is a song that you all contributed to writing.
Right.
And you're going to be on stage in a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be on stage just a block over at this big event. And I'd like to come and see it. Can I bring
Absolutely.
my camera and all my friends? Everybody
sure.
wants to see what you guys are up to.
Yeah, sure. you
Certainly.
I think you pay at the door if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, we'll pay it to we'll pay you guys take checks. Okay. So we'll see you in a few minutes then across the street.
Yep.
Okay?
Sounds great.
Super.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Tom.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it,
it.
buddy.
Okay.
Thanks, Tom.
Bye-bye.
You've been good to me. That's sorry. That's sorry. You so easily. That's sorry. That's sorry. But what can I do now? And I'm telling you now. Yeah.